evening, my friends. We are live, and this is the Eli King Show, also known as Live Free or Die. Thank you for joining me, my friends and my fellow Americans. Today, we are going to have a special guest, God willing, Pharmacist Benjamin Fuchs. Let's see if we can punch up Pharmacist Benjamin Fuchs on the via Skype right now. Hopefully he's available. He said he was going to be available. So let's give him a ring. Ring-a-ding-ding. Don't got the number. Is the request pending still? Okay. Pharmacist Benjamin Fuchs. What happened, Pharmacist Benjamin? Is he there? Alright, before we go to that, maybe he will accept the request in the next minute or so. But, yeah, there's also something else going on this weekend, and it is the Bilderberg meeting. And we'll go to the video of the Bilderberg meeting if we cannot get through to Pharmacist Benjamin Fuchs. He did promise to appear on the show today. Things happen. Hopefully everything's all right with Mr. Fuchs. Maybe let's try to give him a call again and see if that request is pending. Still pending, huh? Let's see if we can reach him via telephone then. This is a live show, people. I do apologize, but sometimes kinks do happen. Oh boy. What can we do? Still pending, huh? Unbelievable. Alright, let's call him via cell phone and see what's going on here. Interesting show already, right, Rick?
Yes, sir.
I gotta tell you.
Eli.
Yes, sir. You are live on the air. How are you? Yes, I had to call you via the cell phone. We're trying to get you via Skype, sir, but it seems that the request is still pending.
You serious? Let me see. I don't see a request from you. Are we on the air right now?
Yes, sir.
Want you on the phone or you want to try Skype?
On Skype.
I'm going to send you a request. How about if I send you a request? I don't see yours.
All right.
What is your Skype name?
Live Free or Die, MNN, like in Marry Nancy Nancy.
Live Free or Die, Marry Nancy Nancy. Okay. Oh, Live Free or Die.
Live Free or Die, MNN. The name should be Eli King.
Here you are. Okay, let me get you on here. I'm sending you a request because I don't have a request.
I do apologize. Maybe it was a different Skype account.
No worries. I'm calling you right now. It says, hello, Benjamin. Okay. Okay. I'm calling you right now. Thank you for calling.
He says he's calling, and he is. And you are, sir. All right. I'll hang up my cell phone. All right, sir. How do you read?
See me?
Yes, I do see you.
Am I my t-shirt?
Not at all, sir. It's very good. The audience can see you as well.
How you doing?
I'm good. Thank you very much, Benjamin Fuchs. It is an honor. It is an honor. I'm very excited. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs is a nutritional pharmacist from Boulder, Colorado. Pharmacist Ben specializes in using nutritional supplements where other healthcare practitioners use toxic pharmaceutical drugs and deadly medical procedures these days. This is a real justified cynicism about supplementation, diet plans, alternative to drugs, etc., and the medical model plays off on this skepticism. Pharmacist Ben believes that this cynicism exists because nobody is explaining how the body works and how nutrients work. Yes, Mr. Pharmacist Ben. Elaborate on that a little about what you're all about.
First of all, thank you. I couldn't have said that better myself, Eli King. Here's the idea. We are held hostage by a medical model that is predatory and that exists, like all institutions exist, to perpetuate itself and to aggrandize itself. And we're held hostage based on our ignorance of how our bodies work. And it's not just, by the way, an ignorance of how our bodies work. It's kind of a general scientific ignorance. We're basically, as a culture, the American culture anyway, is scientifically illiterate. We don't understand quantum physics, nuclear physics, physics in general, biology, chemistry. We're intimidated even by the languaging that's associated with these sciences. Sometimes people are intimidated even by multi-syllabic words. I have to be very careful sometimes when I'm talking that I use words that have bite-sized syllables that don't have a lot of syllables in them, because people are intimidated even by language. So the fact that we are intimidated and don't want to go past our comfort zone when it comes to understanding scientific ideas really, number one, doesn't serve our interests, and number two, it makes us fodder for exploitative interests that would take advantage of our ignorance. So my mission in life is to simplify chemistry, to simplify biology, to simplify pharmaceuticals and biochemistry, to simplify science and the ideas about how our bodies work so that we can begin to take control of our lives, so we can begin to take control of our bodies. And as terrible as the politics of exploitation is, and you know as well as I know that we have a political and a governmental situation that could give a rat's you-know-what about us as individuals, as terrible as that is, when it comes to the exploitation and the leveraging of our bodies for economic interests, of our health for economic interests, and the health of our children and the health of our families, I could think of nothing more twisted and evil than that.
Wow, well said, sir. Well, I have plenty of questions in such little time. This is only a 28-minute show. A lot of questions from the viewers, especially a lot of my audience, wants to know how to do more healthy things without going towards the pharmaceutical industry.
Sure.
My first question is, how can we fight heart disease without taking pharmaceutical drugs?
Oh, it's simple. First of all, you don't fight. I don't like the idea of fighting disease. I like take a more softer approach of working with the body. The idea of fighting disease and wars on cancer and wars on drugs and this notion that we're in a battle for our health, that doesn't sound right to me. Health should be our divine right. It should be our divine nature. So it seems to me a much more elegant and a much more simple model to simply give the body what it needs and not give the body what it doesn't need. You ever hear the expression KISS, keep it simple?
Yes.
Not that you're stupid or anything, but that's the expression. Keep it simple, stupid, right?
Exactly.
That's exactly how I like to look at health. And I don't want to think about fighting heart disease as much as I would like to think about helping the heart or the body do what it needs to do. So in the interest of keeping it simple, we're gonna take our sword and cut through all the misunderstandings and misinformation around heart disease, around cancer, around skin issues, autoimmunity issues, accelerated aging, all of our health issues with what I call the triangle of disease. Okay? The triangle of disease is a three-part model that approaches health and wellness and the breakdown of the body, the lack of health and wellness, by explaining how it occurs from a historical standpoint, from the history of the body. So that when we're born healthy, right? The human body is born healthy. With the exception of the fact that it's immature and it needs to be developed, it's usually healthy, for the most part. Occasionally you have problems with birth and you have people who are born with birth defects, etc. But let's take a normal human being with a normal birth. Comes out of the womb, and aside from the fact, and this is a very important fact, and I'll get to in a second, aside from the fact that there's several systems that are born prematurely, the body's healthy. There's no heart disease, there's no cancer, there's no autoimmunity. You follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Okay. So the question has to become, where does it go wrong? Well, this is what we really want to understand, because by the time we're 30 or 40 or 50 or 60, our bodies are falling apart. What happens from the time a baby is born, completely pristine and healthy and whole, to the time he's 40 or 50 or 60 and he has heart disease and cancer and he's falling apart if he's like the typical American, right? So what happens? What goes wrong? Well, when human beings are born, like all mammals, they're born premature. That's because they got big heads. Right? Human beings particularly, but all mammals tend to have big brains and big heads, so they come out of the womb early. right? They come out of the birth canal, and they come out of the birth canal early. Nature has set up a system for growing or maturing these immature systems during the first few months of that baby's life. And that system is based in what we call breast milk. The job of breast milk is to grow the digestive system, to mature the digestive system, and to mature the immune system. That's the primary job, also to a certain extent the nervous system. But for the most part, it's the digestive system and the immune system that come out that are immature when the baby is born. And nature has evolved a system, a mechanism called breast milk, which contains growth factors and bacteria that help mature the digestive tract as well as the immune system. Okay, so far so good?
Absolutely.
Okay, now in addition to the breast milk, there's another maturing element, and that is the coating that babies get as they come through the birth canal. As a baby's born through the birth canal, he is coated with bacteria from the mother. The mother's, prior to birth, the mother's birth canal is populated with bacteria, and as the baby passes through the birth canal, what's supposed to happen is those bacteria coat the baby's body, they coat the baby's head, they get in the baby's nose and in the baby's mouth, they travel down the baby's digestive tract and implant in the baby's intestine. This is what's supposed to happen. And from that point forward, those bacteria become that baby's best friends. For the rest of that baby's life, those bacteria, humble little bacteria, are like that baby's guardian angels. Those bacteria that are supposed to coat the baby's body and mouth and get into the baby's intestine and digestive tract in the birth process are going to be the baby's immune system guardians. Those bacteria are going to help fight bad bacteria. Those bacteria are going to help produce vitamins. Those bacteria are going to communicate with the intestinal cells of the baby to help support and promote the baby's digestive process for the rest of that baby's life. So far so good? You get how important this is?
Wow.
Okay, now, so we got an immature baby, a healthy baby, but an immature baby, and by immature I mean the digestive tract and the immune system. And by the way, the digestive tract in many ways is the immune system, and the immune system is the digestive tract. The bulk of the immune system, the defensive system, is located in the intestines and in the digestive system. So you got a baby who's born healthy except for an immature digestive tract, immature immune system. What's supposed to happen is that baby gets coated with bacteria. Those bacteria support the growth and the maturation process of the digestive tract. In addition, breast milk is supposed to support the maturation of the digestive tract and the immune system. And this is under, if everything is working properly, under the appropriate conditions. Okay? However, 33% of babies are born cesarean. That's 1 out of 3, right? So 1 out of 3 babies are not going to get, a cesarean section, by the way, is when the baby is just taken out of the womb. The baby doesn't pass through the birth canal, right? You know what I'm saying when I say cesarean? Okay? So the baby is just yanked out of the womb. He doesn't go through the birth canal. So he is deprived of that coating. That's 1 out of 3 babies, okay? And the number's growing, by the way. More and more babies are being delivered cesarean. So 1 out of 3 babies, right from the get-go, are now going to have a compromised digestive system. All right? And then the baby's supposed to get fed with breast milk. Well, we know that many babies aren't breastfed, right? And we know that even if some babies are breastfed, that they're not breastfed long enough. And we know that even if some babies are breastfed, and they're breastfed long enough, that the mothers are not healthy or nutritionally sufficient, or nutritionally they don't have the nutrients they need. So the breast milk is not going to have the nutrients, and so the baby is going to be undernutriated. So we've got 1 out of 3 babies now who are compromised because they're not getting the benefits of those bacteria as they pass through the birth canal. And now we've got babies who aren't being breastfed, or aren't being breastfed long enough, or who are being breastfed from mothers who aren't nutritionally competent themselves, or who have food allergies and have toxins that are passing through the milk. Long story short, well over a third, probably close to half of the babies who are born are immediately compromised at the digestive system level, and they've just been born. You follow me?
Absolutely. Now,
okay, it tumbles out of control even worse than that. Hang on. Okay, now, I should also tell you, Eli, and I don't want to make it even worse because it is even worse. Sometimes when the baby is being nurtured and grown in utero, in the womb, if the mother is under stress, if the mother is undernutriated, if the mother is taking drugs or drinking alcohol, if the mother is on prescription drugs, if the mother has a degenerative and or autoimmune disease, if the mother's got all kinds of problems in her life, that baby is going to be predisposed to an accelerated or enhanced stress response and a stimulated immune system even before the baby's born. I don't even want to get into that. We're just going to talk about the problems that arise from post-birth, after the baby comes out of the womb. So now the baby's about a year old, all right? He's been breastfed. He probably came out at least 1 out of 3 babies. If he's like 1 out of 3 babies, he came out cesarean. He's now about a year old. Now the baby's got all kinds of digestive problems. We call that colic, right? And you say, well, all babies are colicky. No, not all babies are colicky. They're not supposed to be colicky. Colicky comes from the word colon. And colicky is an expression that describes the discomfort that is associated with problems at the colon level. The colon, or the small intestine, is where nutrients are absorbed. This is where the baby gets nourished from. If you have any problems at the colon level, if the baby has any problems at the colon level, immediately he's going to become malnourished. Right? This is a lot of babies, and the baby's only about a year and a half old. Then the baby gets, a lucky baby, he starts to get on the standard American diet, right? The Gerbers and the baby food and the mashed up apples and the apple juice. And by the way, apple juice is one of the most hideous things a baby can ever drink, but many babies do. Or even worse, Coke and cow's milk, pasteurized milk. Now the baby's about a year and a half old. He's malnourished. He's been subsisting on the standard American diet. Now he starts to get into blood sugar problems because he's not getting the nutrients that he needs. His liver is being affected. Perhaps even his pancreas is being affected. Now he starts to go into blood sugar problems. Now when you have blood sugar problems, you have high blood sugar as the baby starts to eat sweet foods and breads and pastas in the standard American diet, and then he has low blood sugar as the body pulls all that sugar out of the blood. The baby goes back into eating more sweets, and the baby cries, so the mother gives him apple juice or cereal or oatmeal. The baby's blood sugar goes up, and this continues on for the next few years. High blood sugar, low blood sugar, high blood sugar, low blood sugar.
All right, quick question, Mr. Ben. At what age should mothers stop breastfeeding their children?
Well, it's hard to say, but you want to be able to breastfeed. Breast milk is the ultimate nutritional supplement. It's the ultimate nutrient. It's the ultimate food. So as long as you can breast milk, the better off it is, assuming that there's always going to be social factors and moms have to work, etc. But you want to breastfeed your baby certainly for a year. If you could do it for 2 years, that's even better. But you want to breastfeed as long as possible. Breast milk, there's no duplicate for breast milk. We should all be drinking breast milk, Eli. We should all have our own personal breast, in my opinion, to drink from.
Sounds good to me.
That sounds good, right?
Absolutely. All right, we only got about 10 minutes left.
Well, there's more, because then the baby goes into diabetes, and then the baby goes into problems with the adrenal glands. Then the baby, and this is by the time the baby is 10, 12, 13 years old, now he's got blood sugar problems, he's got cortisol problems with the adrenal glands, the thyroid starts to be affected. This is, the point I'm making here, Eli, is it starts very, very early. And you asked a question, you said, how can we combat heart disease? You can't combat heart disease once the digestive system is whacked out, the blood sugar system is whacked out, and the adrenal thyroid system is whacked out. That's why we have doctors who drug us and poison us and shut down our heart, or literally, I'm not kidding you here, they do something called a cardiac ablation where they destroy part of the heart, or they'll do a heart transplant, or they'll stick a stent inside the heart, because the problems start decades before the symptoms show up at the heart level. So by the time somebody goes in with a heart problem or atherosclerosis or a blood pressure problem, the issue has been percolating for decades. And this is the problem. So what we have to do if we're going to take care of heart disease, or if we're going to take care of autoimmune disease, or if we're going to take care of schizophrenia, or we're going to take care of depression, or we're going to take care of cancer, or we're going to take care of any health issue, is we've got to backtrack to this triad of breakdown that occurs prenatally and certainly is accelerated dramatically post-birth. And that means, number one, take care of your adrenal glands. That means breathing deeply. That means relaxing. That means using minerals. That means using vitamin C. That means removing any burdens or stresses on the body. The adrenal glands are your stress glands. It means stabilizing your blood sugar. In fact, I cannot even express to you how absolutely vital and critical it is to stabilize and keep your blood sugar on an even keel. Though there's so many bad things that we do, but one of the worst things that we do is we mess up our blood sugar by eating sweets, eating processed foods, eating foods that contain fast-burning sugars. And then we go into low blood sugar, and then we eat more of those fast-burning sugars, and then we go into low blood sugar, and we get on this high blood sugar, low blood sugar roller coaster, and it's why 30% of Americans are not overweight, Eli, they're obese. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Absolutely,
we left
sir.
overweight a long time ago. Now we're into obesity. A third of Americans are obese, and we have 1 out of 3 Americans who are pre-diabetic or diabetic, and the numbers are increasing. And this is because we're not taking care of our blood sugar. So you have to make sure that you're stabilizing your blood sugar, and there's many ways to do it. You can use nutritional supplements to do it. You can use more protein to do it. You can stay away from the corporate swill, and that's a major, major statement that we can make against the New World Order, is staying away from the McDonald's and staying away from the fast food and staying away from the processed food and the boxed food made by people who could care less about us or our health.
That was one of my next questions. Sorry to interrupt, Pharmacist Ben, but what are the essential vitamins one should take every day?
Oh, there's so many, dude. B vitamin. Let's talk about the 2 types of vitamins, or 2 classes of vitamins. You got water-soluble vitamins and you got fat-soluble vitamins. Vitamins that dissolve in water, vitamins that dissolve in fat. We call them fat-soluble, water-soluble. Your water-soluble vitamins are B and C, and you pee them out. You urinate them out, which means if you're not replacing them on a regular basis, you are going to be deficient in them. They're unbelievably important. The B vitamins run the electrical nature of the body, the electrical nature of cells, so all the highly electrical systems of the body depend on the B vitamins. That's the heart, the brain, the skin, the digestive system, the immune system. And if you're running deficient in the B vitamins, and most of us are if we're not supplementing or we're not making sure we're eating a lot of B vitamin containing foods, we're going to be deficient and we're going to have problems with the immune system, the heart, the brain, the skin, and the digestive tract. And then there's vitamin C, another water-soluble vitamin that's urinated out. If you're not replacing it on a regular basis, you're going to be deficient in vitamin C. Vitamin C can be considered the primal panacea. That's actually the title of a book about vitamin C by a guy named Thomas Levy. It's good for everything. Fights cancer, supports the immune system, builds connective tissue. It's unspeakably important, vitamin C. So if you have to say which vitamins do we take, there's 6 major ones: the vitamin B, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin A, and vitamin K. But B and C are supremely important because they're urinated out on a regular basis. Now, the 4 fat-soluble vitamins, those are stored in the body, and they're not, I don't want to say they're not as critical because they're still pretty darn important, but it's not as important to focus on making sure you're getting those every day or even several times a day, like the B complex and vitamin C. Vitamin D, by the way, comes from the sun. It comes from a reaction between the sun and our skin. So getting out in the sun is probably the best way to get your vitamin D. Vitamin E you need to supplement with around 400 international units a day. It's hard to find vitamin E in foods. Vitamin A, likewise, is a little bit difficult to find in foods. Animal foods are your best sources of vitamin A. There's no vitamin A in plant foods, sorry vegetarians and vegans, although there is something called beta-carotene, which is similar to vitamin A. You want about 20,000 international units of vitamin A. And then vitamin K is a very, very underappreciated vitamin that's actually made by those bacteria that are supposed to be in our gut, but we all know that we don't have enough bacteria in the gut, so many of us are deficient in vitamin K. So if you're going to supplement with vitamin K, you want to use vitamin K2 and probably supplement maybe 5,000 micrograms a day of vitamin K2. And then there's the minerals, which is a whole nother class of nutrients. But as far as vitamins go, the water-soluble vitamins B and C, you want to take those throughout the day. The fat-soluble vitamins you can take once a day or even skip days, and that's vitamin D from the sun, vitamin A, and vitamin E and vitamin K from supplements.
All right, we have about 5 minutes left, so I have a question from a viewer. She wants to know, what can she do to help with her polycystic kidney disease?
Polycysts, forget the kidney part. What you want to care about is the polycysts. Polycysts can show up anywhere. They can show up in the ovaries. They can show up anywhere in the female reproductive system. They can show up in the skin. Cysts just mean growth. So when you have polycysts, you've got cells that are growing too fast. Cell growth is controlled very, very tightly. If cells are growing too fast, that means the regulatory mechanisms that control the growth of cells has been thrown off. And there's one reason for that, and that's inflammation. So you want to figure out what is getting into the body that's causing inflammation. Inflammation is a sign, is the manifestation of an activated defense system. Our body has this exquisite defense system. It's called the immune system. And anytime you have any kind of inflammatory response, you're looking at some kind of immune reaction. Something is getting into the body that shouldn't get into the body. That usually means food. A second factor that can cause cysts to grow is insulin, and that has to do with that high blood sugar, low blood sugar roller coaster. So stabilizing your blood sugar is the second thing that you want to do if you have polycysts. And there's a lot of ways to stabilize your blood sugar. The most obvious and the easiest way is to stop eating the processed foods. And keep in mind, Eli, bread counts as sugar, oatmeal counts as sugar, fruit juice counts as sugar, certainly desserts and cakes and pies count as sugar. Grains of all kinds, processed especially, count as sugar. So keeping your intake of those kinds of foods low, in addition to using supplements that help you process sugar, is very important. And one of the easiest ways to stabilize your blood sugar, you ready for this, Eli? This is such an easy, simple way to keep your blood sugar low, and this is probably the single most, or at least one of, the single most important strategies for keeping yourself healthy and slowing down the aging process and living longer, reducing the likelihood of autoimmune diseases and cancer, and heart disease as well for that matter. And this is so easy to do. Not only will it not cost you any money, but you'll actually make money. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
What am I talking about?
I really don't know. Go ahead.
It's called fasting. Intermittent fasting. Going entire days from morning to the next morning without eating. Every single study that's ever been done on longevity has shown that calorie restriction with adequate nutrition is the best way to enhance and accelerate your lifespan and to reduce the symptoms of degenerative disease. So a quick way to stabilize your blood sugar if you're interested in reducing those cysts is to stop eating so much food, especially by fasting periodically, in addition to reducing your intake of the fast-burning sugars and using nutritional supplements that stabilize blood sugar. Let me throw a couple of those at you because that's a very important subject.
All right, we got 2 minutes left. Go ahead.
Nutrients that stabilize blood sugar, all right? Probably the most important are the B complex of vitamins, which I just told you are urinated out and many people are deficient in. Vitamin B1, thiamine, and vitamin B3, niacin are probably the two most important of the B vitamins. Make sure you're using a B vitamin supplement, especially a liquid B vitamin supplement if you can find it. The other nutrients that help you process sugar are the minerals, chromium, vanadium, selenium. Let's see what else. There's one more, zinc. Chromium, vanadium, selenium, and zinc. 4 major minerals for helping stabilize blood sugar. And then the amino acids taurine and arginine can help stabilize blood sugar. And then there's a B vitamin-like substance called choline that can also help stabilize blood sugar.
Wow. All right, Pharmacist Ben. Unfortunately, we are out of time. Any
Let me tell
websites?
tell the folks about my radio program.
Absolutely. Give it all out, sir.
If you like what you heard, we do this. We talk about these kinds of things every day on The Bright Side. You can just Google Pharmacist Ben and The Bright Side. In fact, if you just Google Pharmacist Ben, you'll get tons of YouTube videos that I've done and tons of archives. I've got 3 years of archives up at brightsideben.com. I also have a blog, pharmacistben.com.
Wonderful, Pharmacist Ben. Well, I cannot thank you enough. I am honored to have you on, and I wish I had an hour because we can talk forever. You have a lot of information. You are a well-knowledgeable fellow, and I thank you, sir.
Thank you. Have a beautiful day, buddy. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Boy. I thank Pharmacist Ben. Unfortunately, my fellow Americans, we are out of time. You can join me every week, Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, only on mnn.org. God bless America. God save the United States Constitution. And if you have received this transmission, you are the resistance. That's good. Is he put up his Skype? Oh boy. What can we do? Still pending, huh? Mm-hmm. Unbelievable. All right, let's call him via cell phone. And see what's going on here. Interesting show already, right, Rick?
Yes, sir.
I gotta tell you.
Eli.
Yes, sir. You are live on the air. How are you? Yes, I had to call you via the cell phone. We're trying to get you via Skype, sir, but it seems that the request is still pending.
You serious? Let me see. I don't see a request from you. Are we on the air right now?
Yes, sir.
Want to on the phone or you want to try Skype?
on Skype.
I'm going to send you a request. How about if I send you a request? 'Cause I don't see yours.
All right.
What is your Skype name?
Live Free or Die MNN this weekend, and it is the Bilderberg meeting. And we'll go to the video of the Bilderberg meeting if we cannot get through to pharmacist Benjamin Fuchs. He did promise to appear on the show today. Things happen. Hopefully everything's all right with Mr. Fuchs. Maybe let's try to give him a call again and see if that request is pending. Still pending, huh? Let's see if we can reach him via telephone then. This is a live show, people. I do apologize, but sometimes kinks do happen. Via Skype right now. Hopefully he's available. He said he was going to be available, so let's give him a ring. Ring-a-ding-ding. Don't got the number. Is the request pending still? Okay. Pharmacist Benjamin Fuchs. What happened, Pharmacist Benjamin? Is he there? Alright, before we go to that, maybe he will accept the request in the next minute or so. But, yeah, there's also something else going on. Good evening, my friends. We are live, and this is the Eli King Show, also known as Live Free or Die. Thank you for joining me, my friends and my fellow Americans. Today we are going to have a special guest, God willing, pharmacist Benjamin Fuchs. Let's see if we can punch up pharmacist Benjamin Fuchs on the Skype.